So you're thinking about moving to Pecan Plantation. Well, stay tuned. Today, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of living in Pecan Plantation. Before we do, if this is your first time at the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, press that bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about any market changes here in Pecan Plantation. So what are the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, the yin and the yang of living here in Pecan Plantation? Well, let's take a look at a few facts about the neighborhood to start with. So first off, Pecan Plantation has a pretty rich history. It began back in the mid-19th century where the land was inhabited by Native Americans, and a large Spanish land grant called the El Paso Grant encompassed huge stretches of land around the Brazos River. In the early 1800s, European settlers began to establish homesteads here in the area, and they used it for farming because of the river and the fertile soil. Pecan Plantation, the neighborhood itself, in the 1970s by a gentleman named J.L. Smith. He was a developer. He saw the opportunities to develop a pretty spectacular community. So in 1972, the neighborhood Pecan Plantation began to be developed, and it's grown steadily since 1972. At one point, it was really known for being a retirement community, but over time, it has developed into something that's pretty diverse. There are lots of younger families in Pecan Plantation, as well as a lot of retirees. So it's a pretty diverse and vibrant community, and the amount of amenities is really unmatched with any other neighborhood that I've ever seen. There are just tons and tons of amenities here in Pecan Plantation. So we're actually going to take some drone footage and we're going to talk through some of it so you can get a literal bird's eye view of some of the features of Pecan Plantation. One of the main pros of Pecan Plantation is the amenities. So without further ado, let's jump right in. All right, so Pecan Plantation is known. We've already talked about the Brazos River. Just so to recap, the Brazos River is dammed up and it has an area where it has a main body part of the lake. Well, that dam borders on Pecan Plantation, and so that's where the Brazos River gets narrow again, is in Pecan Plantation. But at the very back of Pecan Plantation, toward the back gate, we have a marina. And on that marina, we have a boat ramp, a place to eat, a place to store boats and all sorts of things. And it gives you access to this main body of the lake, as you can see here. So this is one of the huge features. We use this boat ramp often. We will go drop a boat off here, go out into the lake, and you're right there in the main body of the lake. And this is something that you have free access to as a member. So this is a part of what is offered with the HOA here in Pecan Plantation. In addition to the marina, we have, you can count it, 6 tennis courts here. This is at the clubhouse. We have a golf course that you're going to see. So you see folks driving back there in the back. We have a nice swimming pool, and we have trails that you can walk actually out here that are pretty nice. So there's a swimming pool. There is the clubhouse. And so this is just one of the many areas that people will go to enjoy. We actually have a hotel inside of that. If you have friends or family that are wanting to come visit and they don't want to go stay way out of the neighborhood, the rates are very competitive. There's also a restaurant and a chef here that you can utilize and take advantage of. So just a really cool feature to have. So here is a overview of parts of the golf course. So the clubhouse is directly below us, and we have a look here out over Pecan Plantation with a lot of the golf course visible here. Coming into the neighborhood, the front gate is right there. You go across this bridge. To the left, when you come across this bridge coming into the neighborhood, you have a spot where you have another place where you can put in. The water's pretty shallow here, so this is not a boat ramp for like a ski boat. This is going to be more for like canoes if folks want to go canoeing, just for exercise. Also, lots of opportunities where you can go and fish when it's not too hot. So I'm going to give you a little view here where you can see how the river will bend, and there's lots of areas where people will come down, fishing poles with their kids or whatever, and they will fish out here and have a good time. All right, Pecan Plantation has 2 swimming pools that are for public use. This is one swimming pool here. The other swimming pool was at the clubhouse. We've already seen that, where the tennis courts were. Out here, you can see the pickleball courts. That is not a tennis court. Those are pickleball courts. We have a soccer field. In these trees, there is a frisbee golf course that you can start close to the parking lot there, and it wraps all the way around. So a nice frisbee golf course that you can play. There is a dog park here as well. In addition to the dog park, we also have the Pack, which is the place where a lot of families will go. We have pool tables, foosball tables, lots of opportunities to hang out, lots of cool features there. This is a park here, a nice little park. It's hard to see because of the trees, but there is a family park right here that you can go and check out. It's a nice space. It's right here by the pool, so you can go to the pool, you can do the park. We also have the basketball court, which is located right here. So that's one of the cool features here at the Pack. All right, so we're gonna fly over and we're gonna take a look at, this is Pecan Foods, the grocery store. This is the gas station here. The gas station is located there. Drugstore, pharmacy is here. We have a bank over here. The coffee shop is located right there. And then we have the bistro, nice place you can order pizza. They will deliver. Cool features there, is located right there. Wanted to give you a bird's eye view because there's so much that going around one at a time and looking at these would take a long time. So if we could go quick overview, you could get a vision. Let me pause this real quick. So the Pecan Plantation is building lots of cottage homes and other properties, and they're developing these roads and putting in these homes. So it is developing. There are opportunities now. If you're thinking about relocating here, there's opportunities to buy some of these new construction properties. If it's something that you're interested in. If you are, feel free to reach out to me. Sometimes these aren't like technically on the market where you can see them, but if you want to know more about them, just reach out to me and I can get you some more information. All right, we have Pecan Plantation's very own Ace Hardware store. This is newly put in 2023. So this was a cool addition, maybe 2022, but this is a cool addition. It is fantastic. If you need to run by, pick up something, very convenient. Staff are fantastic. They've been great to have here in the neighborhood. It's been one of the things that has been just very convenient. It's hard to overestimate the value that they've added to the neighborhood. Right behind them is a car wash. So sometimes you want to get the car cleaned up before you head out into town. Well, there you go. Car wash right here. All right, we have a dump site every last Saturday of the month from 8 to 12. And I'm going to have a separate video where I'm actually on the ground shooting this. But I just wanted to give you an overview where you could see this from an aerial standpoint. We're going to keep turning here, and you're going to see that's where the horses and the stables for you to store horses are here. Obviously, this is a feature that many people that have horses that are relocating here are interested in. They are working on an expansion for these stables, and that'll be something for me to continually get updates for you on. If lots of storage opportunities, RVs and boats and things of that nature. So this is a fantastic addition. So if you need to store things, there's opportunities for that out here in the neighborhood. And we can get you in contact with the right people if you're looking for some storage opportunities. Okay, our last drone video, last but definitely not the least, we're going to take a look at the airstrip. We have, as you can see, hangars will be connected to these little inroads that will lead you out to an airstrip for pilots. So this is where a lot of our pilots in the neighborhood like to live. They have their very own airplane, and they have these hangars with these interconnected streets that will allow them to take their plane and fly it out of the neighborhood. So you'll see lots of pilots, lots of planes flying in and around the area. So this is one of the big features of Pecan Plantation, and honestly, it's just a beautiful view once you get over here and take a look at it. So you can see the airstrip, how it starts here and then goes all the way down here. All right, so you've seen all the amenities that Pecan Plantation has. Not all, a lot. There's quite a few others that we're going to highlight in other videos. We're going to put together a complete Pecan Plantation package. But moving on from that, other pros of living in Pecan Plantation are the security. We have patrol security that are going to be patrolling around with the gated entrance. So if you have a family, if you have small children and you want a place where you can feel safe, Pecan is very hard to beat. Very safe neighborhood, just a fantastic safety surveillance protocols that are put in place that are very effective. Now, we want to talk about some of the cons of living in Pecan Plantation. What are the cons? Well, the HOA, the Homeowners Association, it does cost money, average about $200 a month for the HOA. It gives you access to all the amenities that we've talked about. In addition to the cost of the HOA, there are also the rules of the HOA. If you want to build a shop, or if you want to do something on the outside of your home, there's permitting that needs to happen, and there's rules about what you can and cannot do. You have to put your trash out on a certain day at a certain time and put it up on by a certain time. You have rules that you have to follow in order to be compliant with the HOA. So the con is that some people, that is just not the right fit. They do not want to move into a neighborhood and have someone tell them what they have to do when they have to do it. So that is certainly one of the cons. To offset that con, there are preference for some people to not want to have to worry about someone having a very trashed up yard. And I'm not saying anyone is necessarily wanting to do that, but there are areas where grass will begin to get overgrown, junk and trash will start being put out everywhere, and it looks messy, and it can devalue the homes that are in the surrounding area. So the pro of the HOA and them not letting you do that is also a con, because maybe you have a boat that you want to buy, but you don't necessarily want to go pay X amount of dollars a month to store it somewhere. They're not going to let you just park it out, in front of your house or something. So there are questions that you have about how to do certain things like that. And it's a positive and a negative. So the con, definitely for some people, the HOA is something that is a non-starter. I get calls, emails, texts from people reach out to me specifically and say, I want a house, no HOA. No HOA. That is something that is, prime on their list. Then I get other people that say, I will not buy a house unless it is in an HOA, because I don't want to have to deal with someone going and putting in a trailer next door if I go spend $500,000 on a house. If they do that, then, now their house is devalued because of something like that. So the HOA provides a sense of security. HOAs typically aren't going to create more stable values, but it does come with that aspect of a con or a negative. And the last thing that we're going to discuss as far as a con of moving into Pecan Plantation, and this would probably be the most significant drawback of living in Pecan Plantation, and it is the distance to town. So when I say distance to town, you may hear distance to Fort Worth, you may hear distance to Granbury, you may hear distance to somewhere, and all of them would be true. Regardless of where you're going, Pecan Plantation is off the grid by about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're wanting to travel to Walmart, if you're wanting to travel to HEB, you got to travel 20 minutes. If you're wanting to go to Fort Worth, for someone that lives in town in Granbury, will be in Fort Worth in 35 minutes. If you live in Pecan, it's going to take you 45 to 50 to get to Fort Worth because you have to travel up to town in order to hit 377 and make it down to Fort Worth. So the distance traveled to get into town is one of the major drawbacks. It adds time to every trip into town. And for some, that is too much of a drawback that they don't want to have to deal with. It's a headache they don't want to have to deal with. Again, Pecan Foods, that's a grocery store. Ace Hardware store. It has its own gas station. It has a pharmacy. It has a emergency clinic. It has a bank. And so you have all of these things that are located inside that make it less necessary to have to travel out for small things, if that makes sense. So smaller items, you have stuff here, but when you want to go buy a large groceries, or if you need to go pick something up, want to go shopping, all of that adds a bit of travel to the trip because of where Pecan Plantation is located. So those are really the main things to look at. The pros and cons of living out here. I think we've covered that. We've covered a lot of the amenities. So I hope you found these videos helpful. I hope you got all the information about pecan that you were looking for. If there's any questions that you have, anything you'd like to find out, specific features or updates on any of the things that we've mentioned, feel free to reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'm going to put all my information in the comments below or in the information below. So feel free to reach out to me. And if I don't hear from you, I hope to see you around Granbury.